Racism. It's plagued humanity for the past 2,000 years, all the way from the Greeks and the Romans. Racism has been an issue throughout humanity and has been deeply rooted. In fact, a recent white supremacist organization has taken inspiration from an ancient Greek myth and has called themselves the Hundred-Handed Ones. Racism has had many different minorities all across the world stripped of their natural rights. For example, in Europe, there was the Roman Catholic Church, where they would strip people who weren't Catholic of their rights and often persecute and sometimes even kill them. And this has prompted many different organizations and people from all different backgrounds to come fight this injustice of racism. Politicians, athletes, and musicians alike have come to join this fight. And just recently, an athlete from the NFL has changed this nation and the way we view racism with a simple yet very significant act. The act of kneeling during the national anthem. And his name was Colin Kaepernick. Kaepernick was born in Milwaukee to a young African American woman who wasn't ready to be a mother and instead was adopted by two Caucasian parents. This relationship caused a lot of conflict for Kaepernick as a child. He was often bullied in school and in his own neighborhood because nobody could believe a young African American boy like Kaepernick could have two Caucasians as parents. But Kaepernick didn't let this stop him. Instead, he fell back on something that he loved, and he could get away from all this harassment in his life, and that was sports. Kaepernick was an all-star athlete, excelling at 3 different sports: baseball, basketball, and football. But he was especially good at his favorite sport, football, and he played the quarterback position. But the way he played the quarterback position was very unorthodox. Kaepernick was able to run around and throw the ball wherever he wanted on the field, whereas most quarterbacks at the time were only able to stand in one spot and throw the ball accurately. And this allowed Kaepernick to excel and catch his opponents off guard. And he led his high school team to many, many wins in their conference and in their location. And most people thought he would get a college scholarship and shoot straight into the NFL. But this wasn't the case. Kaepernick couldn't get a scholarship in high school because of his unorthodox play and college's unwillingness to take a risk that most colleges thought wasn't worth a scholarship. Most colleges wanted an orthodox quarterback, a quarterback that could throw the football, and that's all he needed to do. Sure, Kaepernick wasn't able to throw the football as accurately as some of these other quarterbacks, but he was very special in his own way. He was special in the way that he could run away from any defender and throw the ball maybe 5 yards down the field, where any other quarterback would have taken a sack and a loss. And something that seemingly was an advantage suddenly turned into a disadvantage because of college's unwillingness. But through a training camp in Nevada, he was eventually accepted with great difficulty with a scholarship into the University of Nevada. The University of Nevada was a place where Kaepernick was benched for the first time in his football career. He was benched for a more orthodox quarterback, a quarterback that could do everything that he could, except that quarterback couldn't run. But even through the struggle, Kaepernick was quietly and slowly gaining a lot of respect in the organization. And eventually he got his opportunity when the starting quarterback went down with an injury. And with this injury, Kaepernick was launched straight into the starting position and played lights out, lighting up the stat sheet with mind-boggling stats and absolutely destroying all the competition, leading his college team to many wins, much more than the quarterback before him. And this allowed him to keep his starting position. And this boosted him straight into the NFL in the second round with a lot of confidence. Kaepernick was drafted in the second round to the San Francisco 49ers and was benched again to another quarterback that could throw accurately. But something was different this time around. In the NFL, most quarterbacks were Caucasian. Most quarterbacks only thing they could do was throw the ball from the pocket. They couldn't run. All they could do was throw accurately. And this was fine. In fact, it was successful. Just the year before, the quarterback he was benched under, Alex Smith, had led the San Francisco 49ers to one game away from the Super Bowl. And most people thought Kaepernick would be benched and never see the field for the rest of his career because Alex Smith was already one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. But Kaepernick didn't let this get to him. Instead, again, with determination, he worked hard and slowly gained respect. And he eventually, again, got his chance with patience. Unfortunately for the San Francisco 49ers fans, Alex Smith, their top quarterback, got injured with a concussion for 2 weeks. And most 49ers fans were a little sad, but they just thought they'd take 2 losses for 2 weeks with some random no-name for a quarterback, and Alex Smith would return to win them their first Super Bowl in 20 years. And only one of those wishes was granted. They did win the Super Bowl that season, but not with Alex Smith, with Colin Kaepernick. Kaepernick took the field and played lights out again, winning every single game with his incredible talent to run outside the pocket. Defenders would often charge him, and he would get away from them and throw the ball to wherever he wanted on the field, and led the 49ers to their first Super Bowl in 20 years, and began what was thought to be a very successful career. But the next year, something changed. The illustrious career and the millions of dollars Kaepernick was promised wasn't given to him. Instead, he was unemployed. Kaepernick was unemployed because he displayed his emotion and displayed what he believed in. Inspired by a U.S. veteran, Kaepernick decided to kneel during the national anthem because he wouldn't stand for a flag that disrespected his own people. He wouldn't stand for a flag that represented racism. He wouldn't stand for a flag that stripped his own people of their own natural rights. And because of his beliefs and morals, he was unemployed. This act of not standing for the national anthem made him unemployed because all different teams didn't want this media attraction, this baggage that came with Kaepernick. He attracted media from ESPN, CBS, and even the president of the United States. And once he was released from the San Francisco 49ers, because of this media, he was never signed again, because no team wanted to deal with a quarterback that expressed himself. They wanted a monotonous, robotic quarterback that would do what they wanted, do their job, get them wins, and that's all. In exchange, they would pay them money. But a quarterback that displayed his emotions, displayed his passions, wasn't allowed in the NFL. And instead of retracting his beliefs, Kaepernick continued on with them. And after he left the NFL, he started an ad campaign with Nike to inspire different people on racism and educate different people on how racism has affected this nation. In fact, he even changed Nike products and removed the American flag off some Nike shoes because the American flag to him represented slavery in this nation back when it was legal. And on top of these Nike ads, he also ran Camp Taylor, a philanthropist organization that helped kids with heart disease. And these kids would often play football with Kaepernick, and Kaepernick would donate money to different charitable organizations as well, trying to spread his beliefs and passions throughout this nation to make this nation, a nation that he loved, a better place for him and everybody around him. He even inspired other athletes to kneel next to him after his first act of kneeling during the national anthem. This passion allowed Kaepernick to change this nation. No matter the struggle, no matter the sacrifice that came with it, no matter how much he had to give up the millions of dollars, the fame, the success in the NFL, just by believing in this passion, he harnessed its potential and he used it to make this nation better. And anybody can use this potential in their passion to make this nation and this world a better place. And all they need to do to tap into this potential of their passion is believe. Thank you.
you so much, Sriven. That was an amazing speech. I actually did not know much about Colin Kaepernick, but I think there's a lot we can learn about him because he was willing to fight for what he believed in, despite what obstacles might come in his way. Are there any questions from the judge or the audience?
I just have a comment that just do it is applicable in every aspect of life. Just the way Srivan, you took this task to be the public speaker right there, standing on the stage and talk about it. You did it. So congratulations. And yes, I again learned so much from you. So keep it up. Thank you.